And we're starting.
I found it quite disgraceful that in this movie, they had these really weird personalities out there. No one acts like people in this movie. It's totally out of fashion.
Fashion!
You're right, Neely. You're right, Neely. Totally out of fashion. I smell a ripoff.
Is it time to sing? Can I sing? I want to sing. Is there a boy? Where's the boys?
Yes, Sister Charisse. Sisters. We shall... Well, sisters and brother.
Thank you. Yes.
And celebrate this Hallows season with the best of all Halloween movies. Hocus Pocus. I'm done with this joke. I'm done. I quit. I'm done.
How could you give up so easily, sister? I even got the vacuum cleaner.
I got a
In my head. This is the tightest shirt I've ever worn in my damn life. I'm not ready to be a witch. Even my dog hates me. She's like, "What are you doing? Stop." Come here. It's a hellhound.
Oh, we like those. Don't wave it, Neely.
Listen here, Callum. This is over. This is done. Not to
wear
say
this for Zombies 2, but I'll wear for this just for you guys. I was gonna wear this wig for Zombies 2 for all reasons, but I'll just do it just because.
Hang the witch, Callum. Hang the witch.
All right.
My mom is like leaving my house, so she's like, "I want to go say hi to your mom," and she's like, and she can't because she has to stay here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Disney Plus Pals. Nana, do you want to say hi? No, you don't. Okay.
It's kind of ironic. Whenever you want the dogs to speak, they don't speak. When you don't want them to not speak, they speak.
She understands what I'm asking. She just wants to be a jerk.
Well, I have 4 dogs, so they're a lot of noise.
But yeah, today we are reviewing Hocus Pocus. Say hi, Callum. Acknowledge that you're a human. Yeah, that's acknowledgement. And of course, the lovely Lady Charisse.
Hi, I'll be thy
We
friend.
raise a vacuum cleaner to you.
In the
Raise a vacuum cleaner to the Sanderson sisters. Are you okay? Are you okay? You're acting weird. Stop it. So Hocus Pocus. Oh, well, first of all,
Classic.
well, before we even talk about that, happy Halloween, everybody.
But it's only October 2nd.
Actually, it's October 1st.
As of recording this, it's September the 27th.
No. Today is the 1st of October.
No, it's supposed to be the 2nd, remember? Friday? Right?
I'm exposing all our secret sisters and brothers.
It's okay. The dog is confused. The dog is like, "No, don't expose the secrets." She's like, "Stop. What about the magic?"
Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it. All right.
Yeah, so it's dropping in October. The entire month of October, we will strictly be reviewing things that are spooky of a Halloween nature.
But,
And what better way to start?
We want to be nice. This is on Disney Pals. We have to be family friendly for the kids.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, there's a lot of virgin jokes in this 't
Dude, there was one joke that just confused me. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is weird. It's like good weird, but it's weird, right? I'm not the only one who thinks it's weird.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It has
it's
37% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's low.
That's kind of justified. And the thing is, what makes this movie in particularly special is that, for some reason, I didn't know this prior to doing this, but after reviewing Descendants and Zombies, we found out that this film was directed by none other than our dear friend, the dance choreographer with the corny trends himself, Kenny Ortega.
I'm pretty sure.
And this movie also came out the same year as Nightmare Before Christmas.
Kenny Ortega has the most reviews Disney Plus Pals wise, which is really hilarious to me because I think we've only mentioned the name Mickey Mouse like twice. And we haven't mentioned Walt Disney.
On Kenny Ortega, not on me there.
Hey, I like me some Ortega. Well, what can I say? And also, this is the first Kenny Ortega movie we're reviewing that isn't a musical. So, that's cool.
How do you explain I put a spell on you, which is performed at Disneyland?
Well, he still has... It's still songs, but it's not a musical.
Fair enough, not really a musical per se, yeah.
Like, you got 2 songs. That's not a musical. That's just lazy. If you want to call yourself a musical and have 2 songs, you better sing them like 8 times during the first act and 7 times during the second act. But I digress. Enough talk about musicals. Surely we won't be talking about any musicals during this October period. Why would we do that? Surely there are no musicals.
Well, I remember there's one. Maybe a certain creature.
Foreshadowing.
In the 80s that has its own TV show and its own musical.
Foreshadowing.
What's that? What's that? There's something in the air? What's that?
Not that one.
No, the other one. You know, the one with Michael Keaton and, you know, the one that has a TV series and the one we're not supposed to say his name 3 times and stuff. And, yeah.
That's not Disney-owned property, is it?
Sister! You're giving away too much.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. For today, we review Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus. That's weird to say in this voice. Hocus Pocus. Everybody tried. Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. I didn't have trouble saying it, Neely.
Blueberry muffin.
You must have a slur.
It's a really good blueberry muffin. You want one?
I would like a blueberry muffin, yes.
Please, 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 please. Can I have one, please? Nom, 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 nom.
Oh, Callum, just because you're Marion, we have to do the joke. What do you smell right now?
I smell children.
Yeah, so like all great movies, this story starts with a child abduction. And that's true.
Aren't we supposed to do, you know, the whole like, hey, how did you guys know about the movie? You know, and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so pause on the child abduction. Keep it in the back of your mind, but just pause.
Ignore the child abduction.
Temporarily ignore the child abduction. We'll come back to it. So, what was your guys' like first experience with Hocus Pocus? Because I think I have a kind of neat story. Cher, let's start with you.
She's checking something. I'll go first.
Okay.
Is she going to go first? Okay, I'll go first. So, I did not grow up being aware of this. It wasn't until in my high school years, my sister, who was studying abroad, was mentioning Hocus Pocus via Skype chat, and I thought, "What's Hocus Pocus?" And she said, "You don't know what that is? You don't know what Hocus Pocus is?" I was like, "No, what's Hocus Pocus? It's Hocus Pocus! Just put a spell on you." So she gave me a video link to, the song that we all know and love, and I thought, okay. And it wasn't until later, I think it was Halloween, it happened to be on the television, that I think me and Illy watched it, and I think we didn't really watch all of it. We don't, when it's on television, you don't get to watch all of it. It's just, I think we watched, I think it was like, I don't know, like a quarter or so in it, and we enjoyed it. Yeah, watched it again in recent years. I think it was last year. I saw it on the DVD, and managed to see the first quarter of it. And it does have a spooky intro, but we'll get to that. But that was my introduction to it. Yes.
All right, nice. Cher, are you available to tell your story?
Hello, Sister Neely.
Yes, I'm a woman.
necessarily have a story. Just remember watching it at this place. There's a place I used to go to as a kid where it's in a casino and your parents drop you off called Kids Quest. That's the first time I remember seeing Hocus Pocus. I mean, I heard about it. I thought it was okay, and then obviously the songs. I put a spell on you and come little children, I'll take thee away. I love that song so much, and then of course I think I rewatched it back in 2015 because of the Nostalgia Critic.
Of course.
Yeah, because of the Nostalgia Critic. So then I just watch it every single year, and I also did a reaction to it during my first year when I was on Stardust during my first year back in 2018. So it's nice to talk about Hocus Pocus again.
Hey, that's a nice little story. My interaction with Hocus Pocus was a little different. So I had heard about it like when it started to become the cult classic I guess it is now. But I never saw it. And it got to a point where I was like a little prideful about it. Just like how I'm prideful that I've like never seen The Matrix and I really don't want to.
Yeah, and you're prideful about having never seen the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance and never wanting to see that. That's understandable, yeah.
Well,
You haven't seen The Matrix.
I haven't seen The Matrix. Nor
Mrs. Sanderson, I hear you have not seen The Matrix and you abduct children to soak their life energy. That's even worse than what we do here in The Matrix, Mrs. Sanderson.
I haven't seen The Godfather yet. Any of the movies.
Exactly what The Matrix is. They totally take people's life energy. It was like the same thing. You're a bad person too.
Well, I stand corrected, Mrs. Sanderson.
I'm a man. I'm Mr. Sanderson.
I thought you were.
Are Neo.
I want to be at any given moment.
I'm so confused.
It doesn't matter anymore. Fine, I'm a sister. I'm a mister. I'm everything in between.
You're sinister. You're a miss. You're a miss. You're a mister. You're sinister.
Yeah. But Hocus Pocus. I didn't see it, and you gotta pull the Band-Aid off with this stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll go see it, I guess. But how to go about seeing it? So what Disney started doing, which I am super happy about, because this was the best way to see the movie, in my opinion, is they re-released it in theaters. Like every Halloween, they re-release it in theaters, and if you go to the movie theater pretty early, you can go see it. And I think I got in at like 10. I was having a real bad day. And I went and I saw the Sanderson sisters being the Sanderson sisters. And it really made my day better. And just seeing the old, like, for lack of a better word, shitty way we used to make movies, where, like, the film is screwing up and the old Disney logo. It was such a nostalgia trip, and I adored it. Watching it yesterday was my first time, like, watching it at home, and yeah, it's still pretty good. I don't dislike it by any means. I think I'm probably going to give it a higher rating, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Will Hocus Pocus beat Hamilton? Find out tonight. So with that, are we ready to get into it?
Child abduction.
Yes, child abduction. Thank you.
Yeah, back to the child abduction. We open up with the sinister shot of a witch flying by. We get to this humble little village in Salem, which is where this film is set in. The witch flies by the window. This young boy gets up and he points to a friend of his that his little sister's been taken away. into a land of
Enchantment.
Yeah, you can see. This is actually a really neat introduction to Sarah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can see, like, it's weird that Sarah will end up becoming, like, the doofiest of all of the sisters. Because, like, in this one scene, she's really creepy. She's, like, dancing in the, like, field. She's luring the child, and it's a really creepy scene. We get, Thackeray Binks, I think his name is.
Yes, Zachary Banks.
Thackeray.
No, Thackeray. Thackeray.
Thackeray.
It's an old name, Callum. It's got a
Thackeray
TH.
Binks.
Like,
It makes more sense to Zachary Binks than Thackeray, but okay.
I mean, Zachary Binks doesn't sound old, though, so I think it has to be Thackeray. Does that mean that his friends call him Thack? Like good old Thacky Binks? That's weird to me.
Thackeray. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay, so Thackeray Banks pursues his sister into the woods and get everyone ready. We're going to expose these witches. So chases after him, trips up on the wood, has a serious injury from falling down, gets up, sees his little sister getting lured inside the hut, tries getting in. We're introduced to our three main antagonists as they are attempting to cast a spell to suck the life energy out of this little girl.
And speaking of those three main antagonists, what do we think about the sisters Sanderson? Because I have opinions on these three ladies. What do you guys think?
I love Sarah.
Do you? I couldn't tell.
Oh, fun fact, Kathy and Jimmy, whose sister Mary, is also the evil queen in the first Descendants movie.
That's true. You told me about that. This is why we should have had you on those videos, and probably will if we ever re-review them, which, honestly, I'm thinking about. Descendants has probably become a big part of my life.
I have dolls of the Descendants in there.
I have dolls. I just I don't remember the actress who played Sarah. Do you know her name?
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh yeah, she probably wasn't in anything.
Yes,
Yeah,
she was. She was in Sex and the City, and she was in a couple episodes of Glee.
No, nothing important. Not an important actress. She's also in like a ton of stuff. That was the joke.
And of course, Bette Midler.
Oh yeah, frickin' Winifred. So I think my favorite is probably Sarah, just because she gets to sing. She's got this bubbly personality, which I always love to see in characters.
Like me.
But by far the most interesting acting choice is Winifred. She loves being this character, and you can just tell by how she's acting when she's like, "Sisters!" Her hands are moving. She is so in it.
She's got this just expressive face. You just see her eyes just popping out her head. She is having a ball with this, yes.
And when they're all on stage and the other girls sing backup, Winifred just owns that stage. I do think Mary is unfortunately my least favorite, but I want to make it clear, I still love her. Mary...
to my memory, she was also, I think she's one of the nuns from Sister Act. I think that's the same actress. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Oh yeah, and Bette Midler was in Beaches.
Oh, Beaches. I've yet to see Beaches.
The famous song, Wind Beneath My Wings. You are the wind beneath my wings.
Well, here's the thing.
Fiddler's a great singer.
Here's the thing.
From a distance. Anyway.
Fred, you know what she's doing. She's an over-the-top witchy character. With Sarah, you know what she's doing too. She's a bubbly, kind of oafish character. With Mary, I don't know what the fuck she's doing. Mary is literally just going each scene and just being something else. She can smell children like a dog.
And she growls like a dog.
She barks like a dog. She barks
she
like
sees
one.
Winnie has the leader. So a lot of times she like is trying to like be a good sister and just listen to Winnie. But then there's that one time when she's like, "No, Winnie, you're being raged out," and she makes Winnie be part of the like calming circle.
That's right. Yes. That's so funny.
I think you need to calm down, sister. I am calm. Okay, hush. Copy thoughts. Be active. Oh, lies. Oh, bad swings.
Now,
Oh.
not by being honest with thyself.
Also, I weirdly like I know this isn't technically a character in the movie. I want to meet their mother. Because every time they talk about their mother, it's kind of in a positive sense.
Mother.
Yeah, they just keep
Be a
looking
mother
and going.
witch.
I specifically think of that one Disney World special, the like Hocus Pocus Halloween party, where they're talking to Dr. Facilier, and Dr. Facilier is like, "I've got friends on the other side," and they're like, "Oh, maybe he knows Mother."
Mother.
It's weird, but I love these three kooks.
Yeah, they're evil. They're wicked, for lack of a better pun. They will abduct your children, but they undeniably steal the show. Yes.
Hey, funny.
They steal the show. They steal children. They
They'll
steal
steal your
time
time.
with a man dressed as Satan. Which, by the way, did you guys know a lot of the cameos in this movie? Because I got to be honest,
Is
I
it one of the actors from Happy Days?
maybe I don't
And
think
the
so.
only reason why I know this because I remember watching the Nostalgia Critic review of Hocus Pocus, and there's like a Happy Days reference.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love Happy Days, and I've seen most of the episodes, and I didn't recognize anybody in this thing. So I'm sorry.
I think it was the devil. I think it was the devil that was in Happy Days. When the man that was dressed up as the devil.
Who was he from Happy Days? I have no idea. He
I
wasn't
wanted to watch that
Fonzie.
movie.
Fonzie would have still been relatively like, Henry Winkler. Would have been still relatively young at this point. Like not
I'll look it
super.
up. I shall look it up.
Okay. I think Henry Winkler did a movie a couple years ago, like 5 years ago. Huh. I know he's in Scream. God, I love Scream. We should review Scream.
So anyway, they're making stuff in the cauldron, and I must say, some of the ingredients must pack quite a flavor. I mean, one of their ingredients is literally biting parts of their tongues and spitting it out. Youch! That's gotta hurt.
Dead man's toe. Dead man's toe.
Fresh.
Yeah, they make this potion, which is like super gross. And they make this little girl drink it. Thackeray tries to stop.
Yes, Zachary tries to stop them. The hijinks ensue, but
Full
he
time.
pushes things over. Action hero, then Winifred zaps him.
I just want to talk about this line read because once again, Mary is so freaking weird. Where like she's like, "I smell children," and she starts smelling around trying to find the child. And then once Thackeray like shows himself, she goes, "I knew it! I knew I smelled a boy." And it's such a weird line read, but I love it.
I think beforehand she's like, "I smell a child," and when he goes,
What is that? A child.
Yeah, Winnie is weirdly like her own worst enemy sometimes, and that really comes to fruition at the end. But Thackeray tries to stop them from sucking out his sister's soul because it can make them young. Thackeray fails. He gets like beaten up. His sister took the potion, and they suck out her soul. There's no other way to say it.
You know, for kids.
This child was definitely abducted and murdered. That happened. And then they're mad at Thackeray because Thackeray tried to stop them. So, they keep throwing around punishments.
They get their spell book from hell with an eyeball, and they find a spell book to turn him into something and basically be immortal to live out his guilt for the rest of his days.
Sarah's
it's made out of human skin.
Because Sarah wanted, like, I think Sarah said literally, like, she wanted him in a cage and she wanted to, like, play and torture him.
Oh, let's hang him so I can play with him.
Yeah, hang him from a hook so I can play with him. Sarah is so weird. They're all weird. I love it. So they turn him into a cat and make him immortal. And they specifically make it where he can't talk to his family. So he's just an immortal cat now. That happens. The Sandersons get caught by the villagers. Oh, what, Callum?
I was just saying it's sad, but there was also the villagers come out pitchforks and torches at the ready. It's like, no, we're three twiddly women who abduct children.
Three spinsters.
That's the life out of children.
Once again, Sarah, probably the best character, also the dumbest. And this is another scene not really for kids. They wrap nooses around the witches' frickin' throats, and yeah, they hang them. But before that, the spell book opens, and Winnie gets a second to cast a spell, and she makes a curse where, like, yo, bitches, here in like 300 years or so, I'm gonna come back to life, and my sisters are gonna come back to life, and we're gonna be alive again. So, fuck you guys, bitches out. I meant to say witches out. And then they go out. They die.
You know, for kids.
Yeah, they get hanged. You see their feet angle.
You know who else got hanged in a Disney movie? Clayton from Tarzan.
Why is Disney hanging people? Mickey, what's up? You okay?
I must face the consequences.
They burn. They get eaten alive. They get impaled. They fall off some cliffs or towers.
Disney.
Disney villains have some pretty gruesome deaths.
Maleficent literally gets stabbed and then collapses into a cliff.
I
think majority of the Disney villains end up falling. Gaston, the Evil Queen, Ratigan, Gothel. Yeah.
Gothel's is even more fucked up though, because Gothel literally is like aging into dust before she falls.
Dust.
Some of them are really scary. I mean, Dr. Falcillier gets dragged into hell itself. Frollo falls from a cathedral, gets crushed by a gargoyle, and gets burned.
The Horn King from Black Cauldron.
Oh, yeah.
That was messed up.
He doesn't feel so good.
Disney... What happened, Disney? Why aren't you killing people in weird ways anymore? Why is Han still alive at the end of Frozen? Why is Han still alive? He should have been impaled on an ice spike. But I digress. So fast forward to the future of like the
1993.
1993.
1,000 years frozen in stone, now here in Manhattan. Oh, sorry, wrong Disney thing. Sorry, I was thinking of gargoyles. Right.
That's 5 years before I was born, man.
7 years for me.
So we meet a kid named Max. He's got a last name. I don't know it.
Max Dennison. Max Dennison.
I remember
the protagonist.
Max Tagonist. Literally, the only reason I remember his last name is because like he's talking to Binks, and he's like, "Hey, you're a denizen now." And I remember thinking he said, "You're a citizen now," and I was like, "Was he not an American citizen?" But then I thought about it, and I was like, "Oh wait, he's a cat. He's not anything."
Yeah, and also 1990, not 1993, 1693. You know, the American Revolution didn't happen until the 1700s. So, tell history for you kids. You're welcome.
You know, it is also weird that Thackeray is like really adapted to the times, even though he's a cat. And he does mention he's eaten mice, so he's lived that gross life. But here we hear the story of the Sanderson sisters, told by the teacher, which has to be another cameo. But
I will look her up.
Max is from Hollywood, and he's like, "Oh man." No, he's from Los Angeles. He's just from LA. He's like, "Oh man, Halloween stuff's by the candy companies, man." And then a girl named...
Oh yeah, Max's teacher is played by Kathleen Freeman.
Kathleen Freeman. What's she from?
Oh, she was in the Blues Brothers.
Hey!
Yeah, so that's probably a cameo.
Love that movie.
What's the girl's name again? Is it
Allison?
Allison. The issue was, since we just watched Zombies, I kept thinking her name was Addison.
Someday this world will be ordinary. Someday.
This is gonna get brighter.
Okay. Focus, Neil. So,
Sorry.
no, you're good. I'm distracting myself. Allison is like defensive of the story, and then because Max is weird, in the middle of class, he gives her his number, and then later she returns it because she's not into him yet. But don't worry, it'll happen.
90s corn.
This is where we get some of the weird dialogue. And there's a lot like this. Like, I won't give examples yet because I think I'm going to give the granddaddy later. But these bullies show up. And there is actually a joke. Their names are Jay and Ernie. But one of them doesn't want to be called Ernie anymore. He wants to be called Ice. And to show that, he literally wrote the word ice on the back of his head with his hair.
My, I wonder who that's a reference to.
I don't know. I don't know, baby. But they take his shoes, which is such a weird thing for bullies to take.
Give me all your money.
He walks home.
Too.
We're introduced to his sister Danny, who sees him make out with his pillow and go, "Oh, Allison. And it's creepy."
Well, that's what people do, and little sisters are there to point that out.
No,
Ooh, yeah, scary
How
Jeff.
old is Max supposed to be in this? Is he supposed to be, what, 15?
Callum, that's not what people do. Sisters spying on their brothers? Okay, that happens. Brothers making out with their pillows and saying, "Oh, Allison." No! That. And if they do, they're probably a serial killer. Has anyone here done that? I haven't done that.
I'm a girl.
Well, yeah, but if you made out with a pillow, this doesn't have to be a gender thing. You could still do this.
Sounds gross.
I mean, agreed.
I mean, everyone going through puberty probably fancied somebody and made out with a pillow as a fantasy at some point.
No!
Not me.
No!
My
It happens. You'd be surprised.
Nope.
The things they hide.
Callum, do you make out with your pillow?
Admittedly, probably in the past.
You know what, Callum? I respect that you were willing to say that.
There
And
you
now
go.
you realize I view you as a serial killer. I don't trust you with my life anymore. And I fear you knowing you are a threat. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Anyways. So Danny forces him to take her trick-or-treating. And when this happens, some bullies take his candy that he got. Danny gets upset because Max is upset because the bullies were there. So Danny runs to these random pumpkins and cries on them because people do that. And here's one example of the weird dialogue. He walks up and goes, "Hey, Danny, can you ever forgive me?" And she goes, "Why should I?" And Max goes, "Because I'm your brother." And then she laughs. What about that is funny?
Because
That's
they're brother and sister, and they know that he's not telling the truth.
There's no humor here. There's no humor to be found. Which, here's the worst case of this in the entire movie. They go to this house where Allison is.
Oh, I guess they're dressing up as Hamilton people. they're at a Hamilton party.
Hamilton party. That's just the name for like Victorian and old people parties now, like historical stuff. It's just you're having a Hamilton party.
Forget like Dickensian titles or Victorian era. No, just go with Hamilton era.
Welcome to the Civil War reenactment. You mean a Hamilton reenactment? We're not rapping. Gonna free the slaves. That's the Civil War. That's the one that freed the slaves. I know that.
Angelica,
So-
Eliza, and Pecky.
Winifred, Sarah, and Mary.
Sanders sisters.
Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. We need a child soul. I would weirdly watch like a Hocus Pocus Hamilton parody.
I'm surprised no one has done that yet. Come on, people on the internet, get that, Winifred, Mary, Sarah.
Weirdest parts of the internet. Make the Hocus Pocus Hamilton crossover.
Fuck you, I'll do it. So they're in this party, and Danny's being a weird sister, and here's where this is the most awkward shit.
Weird sister.
But it's kind of funny at first. So she talks about Allison's dress. And yeah, this is going to be awkward, but there's no other way to say it. So she goes, "Oh, I like your costume, but I couldn't wear your costume. I don't have yabos," referring to breasts. Then she looks over to Max and goes, "Max likes your yabos. That's what you call them, right, Max?" And she just keeps saying, like, "Max likes your yabos." And Allison laughs as if it's charming. It's not. It's stupid. It's weird. And yeah, if anyone ever said that to me, I'd never talk to them again.
It took me years to figure out what that meant.
I didn't even know what yabos even meant.
They
So
did
thank you for educating me.
They did an episode of Simpsons where essentially the code word to stop an elephant from attacking is like a different slang for breast. And Krusty is trying to stop the elephant from attacking, but he can't remember which one it is. So he goes like, "Bazongas, yabos." He just goes through all of them, and that's when I heard it. Point he said,
Simpsons.
I don't know. I haven't seen that episode in forever.
Next, you're going to be telling me.
Yes, Kevin.
Next, you're going to be telling me that Max is probably getting a bit too enthusiastic about the that other joke from The Simpsons with the hotel attendant talking to Homer.
You're a weird kid. This isn't boys. Just Max.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Look, never in my life have I gone, dang, nice yabos. That's not a thing people do. It's
and
weird.
You say that to a lady, she'll probably.
That combined with the 90s corn just makes it all the more awkward.
Like, Cher, you are a female, correct?
What?
I posed like that as a joke. But obviously, Cher is a female. If someone said this to you, would you like ditch them, or what would you do? Would you hate them? What's going on? Oh, you'd smack them. You know what? I appreciate that. That's what Allison should have done. But instead, because Allison likes the term yabos, she hangs out with Max and they go to the Sanderson house.
Get your dump him! Run!
Well, the whole thing is, if a virgin lights the black flame candle, the Sanderson sisters come back to life. And Max lights it.
You idiot.
I mean, it is funny because, like, the ground opens up, everything goes green, and then Max goes, "What happened?" And then Danny goes, "A virgin lit the candle." That's the one time this virgin joke really got me. Like, I was like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah. I think we forgot to mention that the freaks made the witch's house a gift shop, and Thackeray as the cat tried to stop him, but of course, a virgin lit the black candle.
Well, also, like, he got a lighter. Like, and this lighter, like, shows up throughout the movie. So it is kind of important. There's a gift shop in the Sanderson house now, and he got a lighter from it. So the Sandersons come back, and of course, they're just high on life, quite literally. They're dancing, having a good time, but Mary smells a child. And
I smell children.
they find Danny, who is dressed up as a witch for Halloween. And for a brief second, I think Danny convinces them that she's one of them, but then they try to eat her anyways.
They need children.
They do eat children. And Max comes out. Max, I believe, just tries to fight them at first, then Thackeray shows up to help. And they
Max.
Allison is weirdly quiet in this entire scene. Like, she doesn't do much. I think she grabs Danny at one point.
At one point, she grabs a frying pan and hits Mary on the head.
Rapunzel style.
Hey!
I thought
she made frying pans cool before Rapunzel came on the scene.
I thought it was Danny that did that.
No, it was Allison. I mean, Allison's almost the same height as Mary, so it would make sense.
Well, Allison beats him up then. And this is where we get the running gag, which is basically the witches don't understand something, and Max uses that to outsmart them. They get the book. Binks, Allison, and Danny run out.
Danny.
Max stays, lifts the lighter in the air right next to the sprinkler and goes, I summoned Fireball or whatever. And then they're like, oh, he has fire in his hand. And he activates the sprinkler and he's like, this is the rain of death. If it touches you, you die. And I don't know how they touched it, right? Doesn't it hit Winnie or something? And she's like, it's just water. Fuck.
And then Sarah just licks it and just keeps drinking it. Yeah.
Sarah's having a good old time. She's dancing in the water.
She's singing in the rain.
Max collapses. The cat goes up to him, speaks for the first time. Way to go, idiot! You can talk.
Let's go, Max.
Yeah, that's it.
Thackeray explains the situation, and now the whole rest of the movie is Thackeray, Max, Allison, and Danny running away from the Sandersons, and the Sandersons going after. Which we start with a little bit more weirdness from the Sandersons. They go to a road and they think it's like black water. Sarah in it. And Sarah just starts dancing and acting weird, and she's like, it's firm! And then they get in a bus, they go trick-or-treating, but the main goal is they got to get the book back. So Winnie needs to do the spell, because if she doesn't, they're going to disappear the next morning. They got one night to get more children's souls, and if they don't, they're gone.
That's.
Just says that.
So what ends up happening is Thackeray takes them to a graveyard, which is apparently hallowed ground. The witches can't set foot on it. And he's like, you need to understand how serious this is. Here, let me tell you a side story that has very little to do with the main plot, but will be important at the very end. This story is, Winnie had a boyfriend named Billy.
Yes.
He got buried, right? Like he's
basically Winnie had a boyfriend, but he started having goo eyes at Sarah, so Winnie got jealous and basically turned him into a zombie. So
she didn't turn him into a zombie yet. She killed him, sewed his mouth shut, and then buried him. She turns him into a zombie so that they can go get Max.
Specifically, they cannot stand in the hollowed ground of the graveyard, so they fly by broomstick, and then in order to reach the children, they summon Billy from beyond the grave to get up and go after them.
He gives Sarah a little wave because he still likes Sarah. But Billy is really like the main driving force in chasing them. Like the Sandersons still show up, but for the most part, they're doing their own thing. They ride a bus, and a man makes Sarah sit on her lap, which is weird.
The bus driver is strangely flirtatious at this time of the evening.
Yeah,
okay with
not
it.
For kids.
Well, we get that.
I'm
it though, because we get that one joke where he's like, "Please, I'd do anything," and then Sarah goes, "Oh, you'd hate me in the morning," and then he's like, "No, I wouldn't," and then Winifred goes, "No, trust me, you would," because literally they don't fucking get the soul. She's gonna be dust in the morning.
There's other jokes like that where it's like, hey, I can get you to chase after your most forbidden desires. She goes up to him, children. Well, I'd have to try a couple of times, but yeah, sure, hop on in.
Yeah, that joke was a little... I don't know how they got that one past the censors. That is quite literally him saying, yeah, we can have sex.
Do 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 do. Disney.
the Sandersons also pass. They pass a guy who's dressed like Satan. They go in. They think Satan married Medusa.
Oh yes, here we go. I found him. His name is Gary Marshall.
Gary Marshall. I know that name for some reason.
He was all he was in Happy Days. He was in Happy Days. And Laverne Sherry. Or Shirley. Shirley? Sherry? Shirley? I don't remember.
Try to remember. Don't call her Shirley.
Yeah, Laverne and Shirley. Shirley. Yeah, Laverne and Shirley.
Shirley, like, it existed in the same world as Happy Days, and they constantly did crossovers, so that's how I know who those are.
Ooh, he was also in the Dick Van Dyke Show. And the Lucy Show.
Fantastic. So, they...
Yes, Kevin.
The children run into the old sewers where Thackeray as the cat said he chased down mice to eat. Billy still chases after them after temporarily losing his head, quite literally. They climb up the ladder. They get up at an inconvenient time where Sarah's riding the bus, drives right over Thackeray.
Yeah, but good old Binksy Kitty is fine.
Because he can't die due to the magic.
Although it is weird to me that it's a Disney movie. They showed a flattened dead cat. Like, I know he comes back, but what?
For kids.
Like, don't worry, kids. When you see a cat dead and flat on the road like this, remember, he'll be back to normal in a minute.
Disney.
You just gotta inflate them like Count Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Tell him don't say that. I don't want to believe that there is a child out there who finds roadkill on the street and begins to just blow in its mouth hoping it will come back to life. I don't want to believe that, and I don't think you do too. Happy Halloween, everybody.
But it's only October 2nd.
It's Halloween. We're reviewing Hocus Pocus. Every day is Halloween with Hocus Pocus.
Oh, like Tim Curry. Every day is Halloween, that one song. Yeah, Tim Curry.
The Max subplot, there's really nothing going on. He talks to a cop. The cop
Who
calls
really isn't a cop?
Yeah, he's not actually a cop, but, he's called a virgin. And then Max goes, fine, I'll get it tattooed on my forehead, which I would really like to see. I think it's a little strange that they keep calling him a virgin because, like, isn't he like 15?
Just rub salt into the wound.
Well, it's not really. He's 15. Like, it's fine.
Just imagine the witches just taunting him and just rubbing it in front of, like, you'll die a virgin. Max going, it's true.
I think it's funny when the other kids make fun of him, but, like, when the adults do it, it's weird to me. Like, dude, are you really advertising that this child should be sexually active at 15? You're a weirdo, cop man.
Disney.
Endorsing sex at a young age.
Although I would say that there's like a Hocus Pocus sequel where like Max is a grown up and he does have the virgin tattoo on his forehead. I would love that. But
the Sandersons get off the bus. Mary gets extremely confused. She says,
I don't understand. I smell children, but I don't see them.
Yeah,
I've lost my power.
Oh yeah, funny enough. One of the kids are dressed up as Mrs. Pot. Another one's dressed up as Sonic. Did you guys see that? One kid is dressed up as Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm like, Disney, did you have to ask Sega for permission to have a kid dressed up as Sonic or something?
Disney was making Sonic cool before he was in Wreck-It Ralph.
I'm honestly surprised that there wasn't like more Disney princess costumes because I saw Miss Spock.
I think I saw Belle. I think one kid was dressed up as Belle or like Tinkerbell or Ariel.
I think I saw Snow White. maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the
I'm
funniest.
surprised I didn't see anyone dress up as Jasmine or Aladdin since Aladdin came out in '92. But I don't know.
Well, this is also before Mulan, Pocahontas, I think. Had Pocahontas come out yet?
No, Pocahontas came out in '95. Hocus Pocus came out in '93.
Prior to that, there was also Little
Cinderella.
Mermaid.
I
Beauty and the
would kids
Beast.
dressed like Cinderella,
No,
Aurora.
no, wait, Beauty and the Beast came out in 1994, right?
91.
91. Okay, so there was another missed opportunity there. Okay.
Well, there was a kid that dressed up as Mrs. Potts.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But
I think the funniest encounter with I think one of the funniest encounters they have with the children in the costume, there's one dressed up as an angel saying, "Bless you!" They scream. That was funny.
Oh yeah, because that's an actual threat to them. I also found it weird that like the angel girl was right next to the Satan house. But yeah, so they do the stuff with Satan and Medusa, that happens. And then the film remembers, oh yeah, we should do something with these characters for the story.
Aside from hijinks.
Max goes to a party to tell his parents, and he just gets on stage and like tries to tell everybody your kids are in danger.
Prior to doing that,
we get to the best part of the movie.
Even his dad, I think, makes a more subtle virgin joke where like they say, "Dad, something terrible's going wrong." What's happened? What's up? No, Danny's fine. Oh, thank goodness. What did you two do? No, they're fine. Okay. Maybe that was I'm overanalyzing it, but it kind of made me giggle. But the witches go into the party. They spread out, find them. Mary's getting into the group, punches her, and she observes the singer singing up a spell on you. She's just going.
Yeah, Winnie specifically is listening to the song. Like we hear the skeleton guy sing it for a second, and
the best part of the movie. The best part of the movie. I'm so happy.
She gets up there, and Max warns everybody like your kids are in danger, and Winnie goes, "Yes, thank you, Max, for that wonderful introduction."
For that marvelous introduction.
And then we get our first song. Well, I guess we heard a little bit of, "Come Children," but we get our first actual full song, which is "I Put a Spell on You." And it is sung by the Sandersons. And the reason it's being sung, it is actually secretly a spell. That way they can keep the parents dancing forever. Until they die! But what do we think of this song?
This is the highlight of the movie. For those of you who remember, me and Sherry looked into Kronk's New Groove. Do you remember that scene where Kronk and Birdwell were grooving it out to Let's Groove Tonight? Think of it like that, but with this scene, yes.
I put a spell on you, and now you're gone. My spell on you, and it was strong. Your lives have all been cursed because of all the witches working. And the worst, I put a spell on you, and now you're mine.
Watch out, watch out. I think my favorite part of the song is literally when she's like, I can't remember the exact line, but it's something along the lines of, not that one. I do know that one. But it's the one where she says, I think it's something along the lines of, everybody get ready to be superstitious. Ask my sister.
If you don't believe me, better get superstitious. Ask my sisters. Ooh, she's vicious.
She's vicious.
Oh, I put a spell on you. A wicked spell. I put a spell on you, sisters.
It is a really fun song. They all get into it. And I just love the shot of like Winnie and Sarah to the side as these like side singers.
Oh, you
And
mean Mary? You mean
Mary
Mary?
and Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, my Mary and Sarah. Well, they're just to the side as the side like singers. And they are fucking getting into it, and they are wearing witches' costumes. It's so weird. It's one of the best parts of the movie, and there's so much Halloween in that scene. You know? Like everybody's in costume. It's a whole cool thing. I love it.
The
What do
children
you-
escape when they say,
Dance, dance until you die.
Until you die. I do wonder if anybody died. Because we cut into like that dance at like so they got in there at like midnight, but at 5 a.m. they're still dancing. You gotta assume there's some poor like fat guy in the corner who definitely died. And I'm allowed to make that joke. I am also pretty heavy, so it's okay. Fat people die when we
probably
dance.
survive the night, but that would be exhausting. People do get really exhausted from dance fever, yes.
Speaking as somebody who probably, like, I couldn't dance as aggressively as these people are dancing for a full hour.
Yeah, like the mom was dressed up as Madonna, and she had those boobs and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of boob jokes in this story. It's weird. Also, Madonna in a Disney movie. But Allison gets an idea to essentially lure them into a stove when they're hiding. So
Oh, like Hansel and Gretel. They basically pull a Hansel and Gretel.
and they do this. They burn the fucking witches alive.
You know, kids.
Well, what do they do after they burn the witches alive? Well, they go home and everybody cuddles. Danny cuddles the kitty. Max cuddles Allison. I gotta tell you, right after I murder 3 people, I'm in the cuddle mood too. It's true.
And you're calling me the serial killer?
Disney, burn those witches and then let's cuddle. Do 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 do.
Here's the difference. I'd be cuddling a human. I'd be cuddling a human or a dog.
Don't question it, me, Niels. Me and my darling here are going on a vacation. Don't question us.
You'd be cuddling a pillow.
She doesn't complain.
The killer.
She agrees with me. She agrees with me.
She's not a she. It's a pillow.
It's an it.
Precisely. It never
It's
disagrees with me.
The pillow isn't it.
It can't talk.
Sure it can.
I have an opinion.
It's my imagination.
Imagination.
It can't talk in real life, but in my imagination it can.
Imagination.
Nation.
How far are we willing to take this pillow joke?
That's fine. That's fine. I'll cuddle. Cher will cuddle. You'll pillow. It's fine.
So the witches somehow survive being burnt up. I just love their expressions. They're just like, just freaking burned. Just
Binks wanted to leave. Like, Binks was going to go off on his own. And then Max is like, nah, you're a denizen now. So Binks is one of the family. They're going to take him in. But, you know, Max still feels bad for him. You know, this is 5 a.m. after the cuddling has happened, and, you know, Allison's got to go home. They open up the book. They learn that the witches can't be around salt. But also, they learn pretty much nothing else because a giant amount of light shoots to the sky.
That's why
this time.
Zachary said, "Don't open up the book."
This is actually one of my favorite parts of the movie because during this time, Winnie and the other witches went back to their house and tried to like remember the potion by memory. They couldn't do it. So Winnie just accepted she was gonna die and went into like a depressive state.
It's so hysterical. It's so funny.
I love the part where she's like laying against like the wall and she's like, Mary, take me to the window. I would like to say goodbye.
Goodbye, goodbye, cruel, goodbye.
Oh yeah, by the way, we forgot to mention this. On the way back to their house, they caught Ice and Jay, like Ernie and Jay, and they put them in cages. And during this entire scene of Winnie grieving, Sarah is torturing them. She's got them in cages and she's just poking them with a stick. The good life. So they see the light coming from the spellbook and they're like,
I see the light. Sorry, wrong movie.
I mean, the light of the sun is what ends up killing them later, so. If they saw the light, it would be, and at last I see the, ah! So.
And they'll simply cease to be. Anyway.
Early. And everything is dust.
All at once, everything is different. Now that we're all dead.
Yeah, that's very
You
different.
should have gone for the head.
Thanos, get out of this story. This isn't your story. Okay. So earlier in the movie, they lost their brooms. They got stolen by these children.
Who were also
But
dressed as the Sanderson sisters.
Luckily, and this is what you'll see on the posters for this movie. Luckily, the place was converted into like a tourist trap. So there is a vacuum, a mop, and a broom. When he gets the broom, Sarah gets the mop, and of course, Mary gets the vacuum. And anytime she's seen flying, you can hear a vacuum sound. And I love it. In fact, the fact that she's on a vacuum actually plays a critical role in the climax of the film. So they go and they get the book back. They capture Danny. They capture Binks. Max and Allison only don't get killed and captured themselves because Allison had some salt with her. And she like surrounded her and Danny with it. Danny got beat up though. So they leave, but you see they got to get children. They got to get children for the souls.
Is it time?
Go ahead,
Time, it's
Sister
time.
Sarah. The children.
Okay. Ooh, yes. Come, little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of magic.
This song is actually terrifying. It's beautiful, it's wonderfully sang, and it's terrifying.
You get it's a soothing sort of lullaby sort of song, but you can always tell just by the music. There's something slightly off about it.
And how calming the voice is. It's deceptively calming in such an interesting way that you just
Hypnotic.
Oh yeah. It's a great song, and all of the children wake up. Remember earlier when we mentioned child abduction? Well, I don't think this is child abduction. I think this is just abduction of all children ever. There is not an Amber Alert large enough for this. So They get back to their house and they're prepping the potion. They get it done, but they want to start with Danny because Danny's called her ugly. And that really affected Winnie in a way I did not expect. Winnie doesn't even know me. And the reason I bring it up is because that Hocus Pocus Disney World Hocus Pocus Halloween party, that actually is a very loyal adaptation of Hocus Pocus, to the point where when Oogie Boogie shows up, he calls Winnie ugly, and she reacts the exact same way. Did you guys watch that?
I had watched it beforehand.
I didn't see all of it, but her reaction to being called ugly is just absolutely hysterical through a later scene where they're about to chase him down. We're like, oh, because the boy called me, I don't want to say anything, ugly. She breaks down crying. They really hurt my feelings. You know, I've always wanted a child. I think I'll have a child. Toast!
I think there's a point where, like, they mention that, like, Winnie views her sisters like, oh, you're not my friends, you're my sisters. I have to like you. But to be fair, they are very close. Like, they do clearly care about each other. But they want to start with Danny. So they try to get Danny to take the potion. And Max comes up with a plan where he uses headlights to make them think the sun is coming up. They do this, and then the witches think they're dying, so they collapse. Which is really weird to me that they wouldn't figure it out a little sooner. Like, they literally lie with their eyes closed for a minute, just like, are we dying? Are we dead? Is this happening? Oh. But then they finally get back up. They realize it's another trick. And this is where Winnie essentially dooms the entire family. They have all the children in the world. They have the potion. And they just make the conscious decision not to use the potion on any of the other children and to instead go after Danny.
God, just come first.
Because I gotta admit, this upset me a little.
Yeah, there's something I've noticed about some stories. Sometimes villains are just so full of pride that it becomes their downfall. I notice it all the time. In like the original Dark Crystal movie, they banish one of their own, and he chases after the Gelflings and almost unintentionally helps them in some parts, like halting these evil minions so that he could get them himself, kind of deal. And it also carries out to the television series as well. In Samurai Jack, it also happens with when Aku wants to execute Jack, not immediately, but publicly. So, and he's trying to think, what's the best way to do it? Only when he figures out does everybody form an attack. So that's something I've noticed, yeah.
All the Disney ones do it.
That's something that doesn't really bother me, like when it's like, oh no, I want to execute him publicly. I get that because that's like pride that I can understand. This isn't pride for me, this is stupidity. Because literally, it's like, here's the thing, and I think this is the big plot hole. Why couldn't Winnie have used the potion on just a random kid, let's say Ice or Ernie, and then they become young for a little while longer, and then they go kill them? Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have healed themselves and then went after Danny.
They're just there in the cages.
Yeah, Ernie is in the cage. They could eat him, and they just choose not to. Oh, also, Max got his shoes back. Yay, plot. So I don't like this, but they do stupidly chase after Max and them. She also says, "Pull over. Let me see your driver's license," and or your learner's permit or whatever. How does she know what that is?
She's an adaptive learner?
She didn't know what driving was an hour ago. How does she know you need a license?
Maybe she found out from the bus driver.
I guess it's pro. Hey, bus driver, what is all this? The entire time, like, he's trying to, like, seduce them into sex. She's just like, yeah, but explain to me how you're qualified to drive this vehicle. Is there a process? Do you need some sort of papers saying it's okay? I just want to understand the world. Weird. It's weird. So, yeah, they get him back in the graveyard again. This is when Billy shows up.
Billy!
But it turns out that Billy's actually a good guy. He uses a knife, cuts open his strings, and he starts...
them out.
Well, here's the thing. You ever seen those YouTube videos where they, like, censor stuff? I just imagined that as soon as Billy started talking, he should just be censored. Just everything he's saying to Winnie should be completely and utterly censored.
I must confess something. The unnecessarily censored videos are some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen.
Yes, I've seen those videos. I've seen like all the Disney ones.
Like,
So
I've seen
funny.
one for Tangled, and I remember just trying not to laugh, just crying. I just couldn't take it any longer.
Oh, the Lion King one and Mr. Peabody Sherman were the funniest ones.
There's one for The Count from Sesame Street. That's my favorite video ever.
You know I am Count the Count.
Because I really like to beep.
Oh yeah, Kovu. Okay, Kovu. Can I? You? No.
No.
Oh, and Zazu. One day you two are going to. What? Ew, that's gross.
Mr. Banana is scared. It's Mr. Banana to you, Fuzzy.
No.
So,
Ow, Kim.
I also like this one between Bert and Ernie where they're playing tag, and Ernie's like, "You're shit, Bert." What do you mean, Ernie? I'm not shit. Bert is shit. He's actually saying
Oh
it.
my gosh, Frozen. Arendelles deep, 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 deep.
Oh, come on.
And now we're. Oh, hey, love is an open door with you, or you. Will you me? Yes.
There are some people worth.
And I made.
All right, moving forward. So Billy's a good guy, and he actually helps them. They set up everything to take out the Sandersons, because even though the Sandersons can't set foot on the ground, they still have their brooms, vacuums, and mops. So they're going at them with magic. It gets to a point where they get Danny, and
stands there.
well, Max gets the bottle.
Yeah.
Well, at first they actually hide Danny in Billy's grave, which is kind of. But Max gets the bottle, and he's like, "Drop her, or I'll break it." And then Winifred's like, "Break it, and she dies." So Max drinks it himself. And this is this was a sad moment for Winnie, because I thought she really loved her sisters, but then right here she goes, "How foolish of you to trade your life for your sisters." And I was sad because I I remember at the beginning when she was like, "Come, sisters, we'll share her soul."
Well,
And
actually, technically, at first she's like, it's mine. I mean, ours. So she was very selfish at the very beginning. So it
But
kind
she
of
still
makes more sense.
There are a means to an end.
It's just sad because it really felt like they're like they all cared about each other.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And I do think Mary and Sarah legitimately loved her as a sister. I don't know. Then again, now that I think about it, maybe she was just trying to save her life because, like, clearly she has magic that can bring people back from the dead. So maybe if she saves her life, she can save the others later.
True.
I don't know. I mean, they'd probably be zombie versions, but who cares?
We're fired up. We're fired up. We're fired up.
Oh god, Hocus Pocus is a prequel to Zombie. But
everyone's Billy in that world.
She tries to suck out Max's soul, and what happens is Mary is going to help Winnie, but Mary, the sweeper that Mary is riding on has a long cord.
Oh, so the vacuum has a long cord, and yeah.
Yeah, so Billy, Allison, and Danny just grab the cord and they hold her until Sarah comes to help her. They fall into each other. And they use Sarah and Mary as like a projectile to take out Winnie. Winnie falls on the ground. She tries to suck out the soul anyways, but it's too late. She's on hollowed ground.
The sun, do. Here comes the sun, and I say, you will die.
You are now dead. So Winnie actually turns into a statue.
Sacred ground.
Yep, but the other two do turn to dust and die.
Bye.
She literally says bye-bye.
It's sad to see them go because, like, I gotta be honest, I would have much rather watched Max die than the Sandersons. They were so entertaining.
It's ironically tragic when Mr. Ortega gets us to like the villains more than the heroes we're supposed to be rooting for. I mean, come on, Mr. Ortega. These are evil witches using hellish spells. What the heck is wrong with you?
It's like with Descendants. You're like, oh, Mal and then but like Uma and Harry's big.
I mean, my favorite character in all the Descendants is Harry. But my second favorite one is Hades. So they got good villains in there. Hades and his tambourine of justice.
Let's dance.
During the fight, Binks actually dies. And I don't understand why this time he stays dead.
Must have been something you said.
Is it because the witches die too? Like, does that mean the magic's gone and he's just like an old...
I think that makes more sense. Once the witches, dust. Once they go, the magic wears off, and Binks is dead.
Well, I think that's actually a good ending for him because honestly, like, he lived so long.
For 300 years.
Like, I'd be kind of sick of it too. He got to see his sister. Death is the happy ending here.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, before he goes, we get one more joke. What took you so long, Thackeray? I had to wait for a virgin to light a candle. And that's it. That's Hocus Pocus. Weirdly, one of the most Halloween-y movies I've ever seen.
Cult classic.
So do you think it deserves
ends
that?
off with the bullies just still in the cages. Just
Oh, yeah, they're
tumbling
like
away.
singing.
And the parents leaving the party.
They're all tired. It's weird that we don't see like an ending to Allison and Max's like relationship. Like, did they get together?
Maybe it wasn't that important.
Well, there's a lot of like stuff with their relationship though. There's that moment where they're about to kiss, they cuddle for a little while. I don't know. I think the relationship was kind of important. Remember the Yabos? I would love it if like one day Max is old and he's got his virgin tattoo on his head and it's like, Mommy, how did you meet Daddy? Well, let me tell you, son. Your Aunt Danny walked up to Allison and she made a joke about Yabos. You see, Yabos, child, it would be a whole thing. Weird movie. What do you guys think? Does it deserve to be a cult classic?
There's multiple things about it. On the one hand, we've talked about why we enjoyed it, but for me, what sets it back is it's peppered with 90s corn. I know there might be a charm with that, but that's not really my cup of tea. I don't do corn of that flavor. And it can be distracting for like after the intro for like the first quarter or so.
Callum prefers cheese to corn. He wants things to be cheesy, not corny.
Yeah, I will admit some of the jokes do not land. I kept rolling my eyes every single time. The Sanderson sisters are definitely the best part of the movie. No one's gonna take away that.
It almost feels like a misstep that they die at the end, right?
I mean, obviously they had it coming, but as you mentioned before, there's various questions that lead up to that. Like, why didn't they use the bullies or the children they already summoned rather than getting cocky and going after Max? Or
that's
how
what
did they
villains
survive?
do. Villains are always cocky. They don't care about anyone but themselves.
Yeah, like I said,
too blind and don't try to care about anybody else.
Yeah,
and they want to go after the main characters, and they think that they're better than them. But in the end, it's their demise. So yeah.
Thank you.
Did they not want a sequel?
No, apparently they did not. They wanted to end things.
There was actually rumors that there is going to be a sequel, but I don't know if Disney's really going to do it. I think the closest thing we have is the Disney parks, where they come back and do the whole, routine, like, oh, sinister shadows, nefarious nightmares, frightful friends, frightful friends, frightful friends.
Not to mention, Bette Midler has had several concerts where she occasionally gets up in that Winifred outfit that sings away. So she has fun with that, and yeah.
But they did say, Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathleen and Jimmy, they said they're willing to come back as the Sanderson sisters. But I don't know, like, Bette Midler's getting up in age. You better do it now while you still can.
They are older, and I don't know, maybe an animated sequel?
That makes sense.
I think that could work.
I have seen some cool fan art of the Three Witches on Pinterest.
Like if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it now. Time is not on our side.
Yeah, it's sort of like when I hear that they're gonna make that that they're making Beetlejuice 2. I'm always like, are you going to recast the character of Beetlejuice? Because I don't understand. Like, Michael Keaton is way too old to be Beetlejuice. It's weird to me. It's weird. But moving on. So, final thoughts on the movie and rating.
What about your little merch in the Disney parks?
We'll get to that.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to merch, well, let's rate it first. Let's the film first.
I'd say it's above a Disney just.
Yeah, I think you're right. I
agree.
I don't know if it's just above a Disney just though. I think it may be one notch beyond. Let me check.
Yes.
Let's look at the scale.
It's not perfect, but it's still a cult classic that I don't mind watching every year. So it's corny, but it's pretty cool at the same time.
So, when exactly did it begin to pick up popularity? Because that's how cult classics go.
I think for me, like, I started seeing people talk about like Hocus Pocus a lot more, like in the early 2010s. That's when I saw people talk about Hocus Pocus, and then it really popped. I think when it really popped was I think when it was like their 20th anniversary. Back in 2013.
That was the 13.
And then like people started making like parodies. Like Todrick Hall did a parody. Nostalgia Critic did a review on Hocus Pocus in 2015. Other people started doing renditions of "I Put a Spell on You" or "Come Little Children." So I see the 2010s. That's when it started getting really popular. Not about popular.
I think they had to like rerun it on Disney Channel or something, like sew it in the mind.
Or ABC. I've seen it more on like ABC Freeform. That's when I see. That's when I see it more. Is whenever it's on Freeform, you know, the ABC Family or Freeform. That's when I saw it more.
Do we have access to the scale? Because I have lost it again.
When was the last time we did a scale?
We should have it in the pictures library. Where's the pictures library?
Well, the pictures library is like screwy for me because I use my phone. So because of that, I don't stuff. Dog, stop barking! Why you do this?
Okay. Just give me a moment. I need to find it somewhere. If it's even on here. Nope, not there. Is it here?
Hannah. It's like children playing outside, and she's like, I want to go play. But she can't, because they got to stay in here and film stuff.
No, I can't seem to find it. How inconvenient.
Professional.
Children,
I should have screenshotted it before doing it. Darn.
I found our I found all those character designs I made for you with the Descendants characters.
Of course you did.
Yep, I am currently in September 19th on our group chat call, and there's where I made Helena. There's Marilyn. Going for them all. Hurry up, I want to find the scale. Come on, phone.
You can do it.
I can do it. It's just hard. Oh, there's when I first made Jolly, Heather, and Brock.
Shut up, Heather.
Yeah. Here's us talking about Beethoven and Fuzz Bucket. Technical difficulties.
Can you see through my
Let's talk about the impact of the movie and the theme parks and stuff like that. Found it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, I'm gonna send this real fast, and then we can rate it on the scale.
Excellent.
I found it, and I'm cool. I am the cool boy. Did my phone just die? Oh, it didn't. Good. I sent it. Can you see it?
No.
There it is.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Okay, right. It's in the wrong chat, but no matter. Okay, so here we go.
Oh,
so above just, there it is. Okay, so there's just, and there's adjust. Yeah, I'd give it a Disney adjust.
I'm gonna put it in between robust and adjust. I would say it's a Disney ad-robust.
Agribus, yeah.
Robust.
Agribus.
Yeah, I think Disney ab-robust is a good rating for this. It's good. Like, it could be better story-wise, but here's the thing. I've seen really good movies, like, once or twice, and they're good movies. I've seen Hocus Pocus. I see myself watching it a ton of times in the future. Like, this is a Halloween classic, so I think
that
that's
appeal to it.
I
think
watch Hocus Pocus every single Halloween.
I mean, yeah, like, now, do I think this is as good as Nightmare Before Christmas? No.
No.
Night Before Christmas is like every year.
But do I think this is really good and really fun? Yes, of course. It's not the best Halloween movie in the world, but it's definitely something to get you into the spirit, right?
Oh, I'm already in the spirit.
Well, speaking of being in the spirit, let's talk about being in the spirit of Disney. Because there is some theme park stuff, specifically with Hocus Pocus, and we mentioned it a couple times.
Hocus Pocus Spectacular Halloween Spectacular!
And this is really neat to me because, like, it's the Sanderson sisters coming back, and the show is technically a sequel to the movie. Because they mentioned it's been like 20 years, and Mary's like, "Wow, we're getting better at this, Winnie."
Yeah, they actually first started this back in 2015. So they've been doing it since 2015, I remember.
And I gotta say, seeing all of, like, I think I can say this. I see the Sanderson sisters as Disney villains. I don't see them as, like, other things. They were literally standing next to Maleficent and Hades and Dr. Facilier. They are Disney villains.
And Oogie Boogie.
Where were they in Descendants, Kenny? Where was your representation of your own movie?
Well, technically, the closest thing they got for Hocus Pocus is that they had Kathy and Jimmy. That's the closest Hocus Pocus reference.
They should have had her be Mary. We could have gotten Mary's kid, Marty. We could have had in Marty. We could have had it.
Marianne.
We could have had Marty. Sarah's kid could be like, I don't know, what's a male name for Sarah? I don't know, but Winnie's kid could be named Winnie. Samantha works. Or just Sam.
Sam.
Or just do him very differently from the others. Sup, my name is Steve.
Steve.
I do imagine, like, the Sanderson sisters having boys. I don't know why, but I do.
Boys.
But to make it clear, this is a nice little Halloween spectacular where they take a lot of Disney villains, they sing some of the songs, and this is why I think this is one of the better versions of this. Like, with Villains Tonight, the Disney cruise ship show, which was this same type of show, it's just an excuse to sing the classic songs. You have to have, like, something entertaining to sort of, like, be the segue. And the idea of the Sanderson sisters being that segue is such a good idea. Like, they're making the jokes. It's very, very loyal to the film. It's weird to see in a Disney park, to say the least, but I'm really glad it's there. You know? Am I weird? Is this bad? What do you guys think? I especially like the end where it's like Maleficent comes in and she's helping them, like, summon all the other Disney villains. And then all of the Disney villains sing and dance to "I'll Put a Spell on You." Specifically, Hades is, like, in the corner just rocking out.
do what you gotta do.
Get that
Doesn't-
tambourine out, Hades.
I really like the Hocus Pocus Halloween Spectacular, and I hope it continues after this year, which Disney ain't doing shit for Halloween this year.
The Fire Nation.
Fire Nation. They be attacking. But let's move on to the merch corner. And by the way, there is a good chunk of merch in this one. Specifically, if you're a fan of Spirit Halloween, you can get a Funko set of all of the Sanderson sisters around their cauldron. There is currently at Books A Million the Sanderson sisters on their brooms. And of course, like Winnie has the normal broom, Sarah's got the mop, and you know Mary's got that vacuum. But the thing I'm going to recommend is Hocus Pocus, the book. Because here's
yes,
there's
The
a book of Hocus Pocus.
there's a book.
And it isn't just a book, it's a sequel. There are 3 new witches. Now, I haven't read this book. I saw it on the shelf and I was like, do I stay or do I dare? Because I wanted to get it, but I also didn't. Because money.
Yeah.
So I didn't get the book, but I have read a synopsis, which is the Sanderson sisters come back, Max is an adult, and there are 3 other witches. I know
He
nothing
has
else.
virgin tattooed on his head.
He has virgin tattooed on his head. No children, so we can assume he still is a virgin. I don't know, but I definitely recommend everybody read this book because technically, for now at least, this is the Hocus Pocus sequel. So if you like Hocus Pocus, you will probably want to see this. It's a continuation of the story. And maybe it's bad. In fact, I'm going to say probably it's bad. But who knows? Maybe it's really good. Maybe we're just blind.
Blinded by the light.
Blinded by the spell.
Rush up like a douche. Well.
There's really nothing else more to say. But the Halloween season has begun. And I have to ask that you, come little children and click subscribe.
This is my
You can
song.
sing. You can sing.
My song.
I just wanted to be different.
This is my song.
So what's on the bill for next week, boys and girl? What?
Something.
You know what would be really cool to do? Isn't there a 90s Disney cartoon about some beast and it's really dark and it has the voice of Dr. Facilier himself and Patrick Starr?
Also
Nope.
set in the 1990s.
No, I don't think that's a thing.
Maybe we should do that for next week.
But we have to involve Halloween stuff. What
Oh,
night?
trust me, Neil. This does involve Halloween stuff.
What
It
Kevin?
does.
What 1990s cartoon show starring Ron Perl? Wait, what? Starring Dr. Facilier's voice actor and Patrick Starr could have a Halloween episode?
It also has Beauty and the Beast in it. Ooh. Stay tuned for next week.
Gargoyles.
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 Right into cut it. Cut the feed.
And now we will